Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Accelerating Web3. My name is Arvind, and I'm the specialist responsible for the Web3 business at AWS. I will be jointly presenting this session with Alex Yu, Chief Architect, Crypto.com, and Russell Fortune, Director, DevOps Engineering at Crypto.com. Now, before I begin, I want to tell you I'm very aware that I'm standing between you and lunch, right? And so if you're choosing to do your survey, do it after you've had some food, okay? That's my only request to you. But that aside, thank you so much for skipping that and choosing to hear from us today. So let's see what you're going to hear about. We'll start the session by sharing AWS's perspective on Web3. How do we see it? And how are we addressing it? We'll then jump in and talk a little bit about the different technological blocks that enable Web3. What are some of the requirements? And how does AWS address it with building blocks that we already have in our cloud infrastructure? We'll then switch gears and talk a little bit about use cases. The idea there is not to educate you on the use cases, but to show you in complex Web3 use cases, how do we play? How do we enable you? So we'll take a 30,000-foot level of things, but we'll show you how we play there and how we're making sure you're able to build your Web3 products on AWS. We'll then completely switch gears, and you're going to hear from our customer, Crypto.com. They are going to share their journey with you in leveraging AWS to build a world-class exchange. How do they do it? What are they doing, and what are they planning? Some of what they're planning. And then I'll come back and talk to you a little bit about some of the trends we are seeing in Web3. I won't call it so much future trends. I know we put it like that, but it's trends that we are already starting to see shape up, and we're working on it, and I'll share a little bit about it with you. And then we'll close this session out with some resources for you to learn more about Web3, more about what AWS is doing there, and also links that will help you engage with us more directly if you choose to. Sound good to you? You're all, yeah, I want to see that, right? All right, so what's our perspective on Web3? When I say Web3, how many of you immediately start thinking about cryptocurrency? Yeah? I used to before I took on this job, right? That's what people immediately think about, Web3 crypto, right? Today, I'm here to tell you that while crypto has been the most popular Web3 use case in the public eye since 2017, for good and not so great reasons, there are a lot more workloads and use cases that take advantage of the same foundational principles that power cryptocurrency. So these are the foundational building blocks and foundational principles that power all Web3 workloads. And we at AWS are here to provide you with the building blocks that you need to bring your workloads, to bring your products to life on AWS. Web3 really came about as a response to the perceived shortcomings of the current internet infrastructure. Now, if you abstract away from all of the noise around everything, you can start focusing on the core tenet that drove this, and that's decentralization. And that's the lens with which we view Web3. That's our perspective. When we look at Web3, we're really thinking about decentralized technologies, and we're really thinking about how do we enable those technologies with the right building blocks for you. Many applications leverage decentralized technologies, blockchain networks, virtual machines for smart contracts, decentralized storage, and quite a few more. And sometimes it takes a combination of all of these different building blocks for you to operationalize your workload. In some use cases, all of these building blocks for you to operationalize your workload. The most common class of decentralized applications that we see most people are focused on are digital assets. Two types there, right? Number one is the digital representation of real-world assets, like real estate, financial instruments. And number two are the more natively digital assets, like stablecoins and cryptocurrency, all of which are accounted for on a blockchain ledger. Now, very quickly there, this talk went from, oh, here's Web3 to, starting to talk about these different building blocks of decentralized storage and all of that, right? So what we're going to do next is really get into some of these specific requirements and talk about what we are doing there and how we are enabling you. Now, if you're in the business of building any of these applications, you will notice that there are some fundamental and foundational principles that all are required as you build your products. These decentralized applications leverage the exchangeability and the programmable nature of digital assets to facilitate two things: new product development, like decentralized finance, and also reimagine existing paradigms like payments. A lot of customers we work with, they're looking at how to reshape that. How do I bring payment on crypto rails? How do I offer crypto payment solutions, right? So we're starting to shift from a world that had classic payment solutions into brand new ones that are leveraging these decentralized technologies. So there is that, exchangeability and programmability and all of that. And then there are some other foundational principles like transparency and direct ownership of your assets, direct ownership of your data. Blockchain networks are also immutable in nature. So with that comes immutability and a certain level of transparency that did not exist before. Blockchain networks also leverage public key cryptography, which brings with it one more benefit: verifiability. So if you put it all together, the programmability, the transparency, the direct ownership, the verifiability, all have enabled not just new use cases, but also a movement now to overhaul traditional financial use cases. So we are seeing more and more what we would like to call Web2 customers, traditional financial institutions that are starting to look into developing Web3-based solutions, Web3-based products that they want to take into the retail customers. It's my personal opinion that we are at that point where the wheels are starting to turn, where it's starting to get more into consumers and the retail market, if you will. But when you start building one, and then how many of you are in the business of actually building Web3 applications? Can I see a show of hands? Don't be shy. Just want to know. Okay, there's quite a few hands going up, right? So you probably relate to that squiggly curve right there. When you start building Web3 products, you're looking at all of these different building blocks, these decentralized technologies you want to pull together, but to get to that Web3 product, it's a really complex process. It's not easy to leverage all of this, make all the right choices, and get your product out. The adoption of these decentralized technology itself is not the end goal. It's just a means to the goal. And without prescriptive guidance, it can get very difficult very quickly to navigate some of the technical and strategic challenges that you'll face. Because at the end of the day, what you build and some of the critical decisions you make will affect how your customers interact with your products. You will be faced with a lot of choices up front when you start thinking about building a Web3 product. If you haven't built one and you're just starting your journey, you're going to be faced with a lot of choices, both from core component perspective and some other strategic considerations perspective. First, you will have to determine whether to build on public or permissioned protocols on those chains, right? And then will you build exclusively on a public chain or a private chain? Now, are you going to use some combination of both? Are you going to use multiple chains? And if you're going to do that, are you going to have to build a cross-chain interoperability layer? These are fundamental choices you have to make. And then once you've made those choices, now you're starting to look downstream. Now you have to decide, okay, am I going to do a custodial or non-custodial wallet? What kind of wallet am I going to build? Am I going to build multi-party wallet? I have some wallet customers in the audience today, I know personally. And I know they've had to face all these choices before they decided which way they're going to go, institutional, retail, on all of those choices that had to be made up front when you have to deliver your product. And once those decisions are made, once you decide how you want to go about with these basic fundamental decisions, then you have to start thinking about the core components. How am I going to present data and analytics? How are my customers going to interact with it? What kind of protocol nodes am I going to use? What kind of smart contract standards am I going to use? So many choices to make. And the main message I want to leave you with in this session, if you forget everything we talked about today, is that we are here to help you make these decisions. And we have a lot of experience working with a ton of customers in this space, both from a customer perspective and as a partner as well. And we have gathered a lot of best practices that we are happy to share. And I'll share some of that with you today. And that's really the message I want to leave you with. It can look complex, but we can make it fairly simple for you. And we can make that squiggly curve start to look like something like that. We can take you from that decentralized technology building blocks you're looking at to your Web3 product by leveraging our foundational pillars. We have 3 of those. 1, managed services. 2, do-it-yourself Web3 solutions. And 3, partner-based Web3 solutions. With our managed services, we offer a range of services that serve as core infrastructure and use case-specific solutions with some specialized services as well. In addition to that, we have also proactively created and curated reference architectures and solution blueprints that tackle our most commonly seen problems by customers. And those are your do-it-yourself Web3 solutions. And let me be clear, with those do-it-yourself solutions, those are not production grade like our managed services, but those help you hit the ground running. I'll share some of that solutions with you, and when you hear about it, it'll become clear to you why it'll be helpful and how you can leverage them. And lastly, partner-led solutions. Our AWS Marketplace and Partner Network feature a variety of solutions built by our partners that are ready to deploy and use on AWS. Now let's explore each of these, right? Let's explore each of these foundational pillars and see what we have. Let's start by talking about managed services. This is a talk focused on Web3 solutions and our infrastructure, right? So I'd be remiss if I didn't spend a minute or two talking about the most foundational one of all, which is EC2, right? So if you think about the workloads, the Web3 workloads, regardless of whether it's a Web2 or Web3 workload, they all have similar needs. You need compute, you need some storage, you need a certain level of security, depending on where your security bar is, and you might need some specialized services. So let's talk about compute. How many of you think if I'm building a Web3 application, a blockchain-based application, I want to make sure my content and my nodes remain protected from operators in the cloud provider? Can I see a show of hands? How many of you think by getting on the cloud, you're defeating that whole decentralized tenet? Nobody? That's good to know. Because that's what I've been talking to with many people, right? You are not really violating that tenet by getting your nodes onto the cloud. In fact, you're helping yourself. Gone are the days when you have to run it from a garage. If you want to scale, you want to be in a scalable platform, in a highly available and scalable platform, right? So if you're thinking about compute, if you're thinking about running nodes, there is no better place to run your blockchain nodes than EC2. And I'm about to tell you why. All modern EC2 instances that we've launched since early 2018 are based on our Nitro system. Nitro system is the foundation of virtualization that underpins EC2. And if you're using a Nitro-based instance today to run your blockchain nodes, it comes with a default assurance of no operator access. What that really means is if you are running your nodes on EC2, and if it's a Nitro-based node, there is no mechanism whatsoever for any AWS operator to access your content, thereby making it always on confidential computing at AWS. So depending on which security and privacy dimension you're really looking to address, and if you're only concerned with running your nodes as protecting your content from us, you're already protected. Just spin up an EC2 node, run your blockchain node on it, you're done. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to turn on. Now, if you have more specialized needs, let's say you're trying to build a wallet, and you want to make sure your content remains protected from even yourselves, even admin level users at your end, or malicious actors who could pose as admin level users and gain access to secrets like keys with which you sign transactions. Then we offer specialized capabilities in EC2, specialized confidential capabilities like Nitro Enclaves. And Nitro Enclaves help you spin up an isolated and secure compute environment within which you can then safely process and secure your data. You can decrypt your data inside an enclave and nobody will gain access to it, not even yourselves. So if I have to put it very simply to you about what an enclave does, because in Vegas, I'll tell you in terms you will relate. What happens in an enclave stays in an enclave, right? So that's really the security bar that we hit when we offer solutions like Nitro Enclaves. And we have first-class integration with AWS KMS, our key management service. And if you choose to use any other key management service, that's fine too, because keeping with all the core tenets that we talked about earlier, when you operationalize your decentralized applications, you want verifiability. Enclaves provides their own attestation document. You can then use that to anything else that you're attesting to bring secrets into your environment. So if you're in the business of building applications that sign transactions, great solution. Very organic solution, especially if you're thinking about multi-party wallets. Enclaves have a very organic multi-party collaboration environment. Helps you sign multiple transactions as well. Prior to this, if you were doing it on an EC2 instance, you may have to sign one at a time. Now you can batch it all in an enclave and just go off, decrypt everything, and sign it. Improves your performance too. That's a little bit about compute and a little bit about security. We also have services like DynamoDB, which is a key value NoSQL database that runs high-performance applications at any scale. Now, lastly, if I want to touch on one thing that's very specific to Web3, because I did get the question earlier, hey, we came to this session. Are you guys still doing Web3? Yes, we are still doing Web3. So we have this session. But more importantly, we are continuing to invest in it. And the testament to that is a Web3 specific service that we have launched, a very successful service called Amazon Managed Blockchain. Amazon Managed Blockchain helps customers build resilient Web3 applications on both public and private blockchains with instant serverless access to multiple blockchains and their data. Let's take an up-close look at Amazon Managed Blockchain before we move on and talk about other foundational pillars. There are two separate offerings within AMB Access and AMB Query. AMB Access provides public blockchain RPC access for Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Polygon networks. You can engage directly with the public blockchains and remove any undifferentiated heavy lifting associated with provisioning and managing blockchain infrastructure. We do that for you. We take care of that. We remove the heavy lifting. We manage the infrastructure. You can go focus just purely on what you're building. There are a standard set of APIs that come with it that allow instant scalability. Because we fully manage it, you can just completely forget about any of the other aspects that you would have to if you were trying to do all of this on your own. If you're standing up your own nodes and doing it, there's a lot more toil, a lot more operational overhead involved, and we remove that for you. The second capability of Amazon Managed Blockchain is AMB Query. AMB Query provides you with serverless access to standardized multi-blockchain datasets with developer-friendly APIs. AMB Query makes blockchain data accessible without you having to do complex ETL processes or run costly archive nodes. So now you can quickly start seeing, right? Not only are we removing the toil of managing infrastructure, but we're also taking care of some of the complex processes that are involved. Maybe cumbersome, not so much complex, but very cumbersome for you to go and do all of this ETL and implement it yourself and maintain it. We take care of that. If you haven't heard of AMB, I highly encourage you to go take a look at it. I'll share the QR code and the link for it later. So definitely go and take a look at what that service looks like. Now we move on, talk a little bit about the do-it-yourself Web3 solutions. What we've done here is we have collected a lot of customer feedback. And based on that, we have built some solution-based accelerators. That will help you hit the ground running. And we have developed quite a few of that. We are showcasing a few here, because these are the most popular ones that we've seen customers go back to again and again, with hundreds of deployments in each of this. And when I say deployment, these are not production deployments, right? These are what they use, try and see how to get things moving. The first one I want to tell you about is AWS Node Runners. This is an open source initiative aimed at simplifying the deployment of self-managed blockchain nodes. So if you don't want to use the managed service we talked about earlier, you want to run your own nodes, feel free. But we'll help you get going faster. Right? It's nearly like providing you with a one-click solution. It's not quite one-click, but nearly. Help you get the node spun up. Next one is our AWS public blockchain data. We have built an indexer that performs ETL functions for you for Bitcoin and Ethereum data. These blockchain data sets are made available to you for free through the AWS Open Data Initiative, and it's updated every day. And then AWS Nitro Enclaves blockchain wallet. So if you remember what we talked about, the secure isolated compute environment, those are very fundamental building blocks. We built it with the goal of making it easy to use, but it's also very low level. So it's easy to use for people who know how to work with low level system design, and for others it may not be. So what we have done is gathered all of the best practices that we have seen from people who have built wallets, institutional, retail, custodial, non-custodial, all of that, and built blueprints that will help you going in case you choose to build your own wallet. And then lastly is the Graph blockchain indexer. We built an indexer that will help you spin up a Graph node in your own AWS account. And it lets you index a few smart contracts in great detail. Why am I stressing on that? Because you do have a different AMB service that still lets you do all of the querying and everything. But what it does is more of a broad search and a broad querying. It doesn't go deep. If you already know which are the smart contracts you want to focus on and go query it in detail, then you can use one of our blueprints here, leveraging Graph, and that'll help you go mine that data you're looking for. So these are just some examples of very, very popular blueprints that we have built to help you in your journey. Let's take a closer look at one or two of them. The blockchain node runners I talked to you about, which helps you spin up your own nodes and run your self-managed nodes. This is very popular and becoming more and more popular. And the reason for that is, as we speak, new chains are being developed. There's a lot more proliferation in the L2 space as well, as you all know. So what we're doing is constantly updating this set of blueprints that we have and keep adding to it. We have support for EVM and non-EVM chains, public and private chains, layer 1 and layer 2 as well. As recent as last week, we released support for Besu. So this is aimed at helping our customers stand up nodes for private chains as well. And we'll continue to add more. These are just a few examples on the screen of what we have, and we're continuing to add a lot more. There are blogs for each of these that accompany the blueprint that will help you understand what you have to do and some of the best practices, some of the prerequisites and all of that, along with the template that we provide. The next thing I wanted to touch on before we move over for partner solutions is our public blockchain data blueprint, right? The public blockchain data makes valuable blockchain data sets freely accessible for research and experimentation. I'm stressing on that because the research and experimentation piece, because the data is made available through the AWS Open Data Initiative. So that's, if you're leveraging that for research and experimentation, the data is available to you for free, basically. And we began this in 2022, and we offered data sets for two chains. The top two you're seeing on your screen, Ethereum and Bitcoin. These data sets have really enabled our customers and developers to analyze data and eliminate indexing costs for them. As recent as this week, we have now added support for five more chains. So Number one, Aptos, Arbitrum, Base, Provenance, and XRPL. But we didn't do this by ourselves. These data sets have been generously given to the community by one of our partners, SonarX. And I believe they are here in the audience today, so if you'd please indulge me and thank them, with a short round of applause for what they've done for us here, for the community. So what they're providing is free access to those 5 chains. But if you want to go beyond that, and if you actually want to leverage their own product, then they have an offering for you, which gives you access to 70-plus blockchains. And also it comes with an assurance of their proprietary data quality framework, which speaks for the veracity and integrity of the data that you're handling as you go access these data sets that they pull for you. And it also comes with its own enterprise-ready infrastructure deployed on AWS, so it makes it scalable and available and all that jazz, right? So if you're interested, take a look at that, and I believe they're in the audience today, so if you want to talk to them later, you should. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about our partner-led solutions. That was a good segue to talk about our partners, right? Through the AWS Partner Network and Marketplace, AWS provides access to turnkey solutions that will let you build and deploy your Web3 products. I have a lot of partner logos here, and I'm also very aware that some of the partners are here in the audience today, so thank you. Thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for being here, right? We talked about wallets earlier, very popular use case, and we have partners like Fireblocks, I believe, are in the audience, and some others who have extensively not only leveraged our capabilities, but have also helped us hone and improve on those capabilities, helped inform our roadmap, right? So we're continuously working with our partners too to understand how to go and make these building blocks better and more useful for you. One partner I'd like to showcase here as we speak about this is Chainlink Labs. Chainlink Labs enables secure smart contract interactions with trusted off-chain data sources, Web2 data sources, if you will, right? And AWS services through their centralized Oracle network. Now, just keep that Oracle network in your head, and I'm going to show you a representation of how a partner building block can integrate into a full platform. Okay. They also leverage AWS's serverless architecture to deliver their Oracle services, and they eliminate the need for customers to manage complex node infrastructure. Now, by now, it should start becoming apparent to you, right? Regardless of what I talked about, managed infrastructure, or managed services, or do-it-yourself Web3 solutions, or partner solutions, any of these, the main theme of what we're trying to do here is remove that heavy lifting from you of running your own infrastructure, standing it up, whatever the case may be, so we can let you freely focus on the Web3 application that you want to build. You are the experts there. We know what to do at the back end, and we'll take care of that for you. Right? That's the whole theme of all of these foundational pillars that you heard me talk about today. Now let's take a look at a couple of use cases, and the reason I'm doing this is to show you how we play in these use cases. It's not necessarily to actually dive into any of this. So I'm not going to walk you through what the data flow or the actual platform looks like, but I'm going to show you what's required from some of these. Some top use cases that we can think about when we talk about Web3, tokenization, trading, payments, wallets, right? Tokenization of traditional assets, from equities to real estate, also of digital assets. And then there's trading, and within trading, centralized exchanges have existed for a while, and decentralized exchanges are up and coming. And there's a lot more in terms of facilitating the purchasing, trading, and custody of assets, everything that's going on. And payments, and we touched on this earlier, with new payment solutions that are starting to emerge, especially around crypto and stablecoin settlements. And of course, if you're handling any of these assets, you want to custody things. You want a way for peer-to-peer interaction. You need wallets. You need to dip into something to go pull your assets out. And there's a very, very high bar for security with those solutions. Now, that said, let's take a look at tokenization. Right there on the screen is I would say, a 30,000-foot level of what a tokenization platform looks like, right? What I really want to draw your attention to is look at the key components that are involved here in a tokenization platform. There's a tokenization engine. There's a big block that has to do with data and analytics, so they can provide insights or monitor asset performance. And then there's a custody solution that's required to securely store all of these tokenized assets. And then lastly, there are quite a few times when real-world data is needed to be pulled into these things. So there's on-chain data, but there's also off-chain data you want to pull in and make some decisions based on that. And that's that Oracle service I talked about, where you're seeing it on your screen right now without any of the AWS logos, because those are the kind of building blocks where we fully lean on our partners to help our customers. Now, let's just take a look at what that end user flow is going to look like, right? The end user is typically going to interact with the platform through a front-end GUI. And then assets are probably inside a customer wallet, which are leveraging blocks like Nitro Enclaves, KMS, Cloud HSM, depending on how you've built your solution. And then that goes into this smart contract block that we're talking about, which is also ingesting data from that Oracle service, which you could be leveraging from a third party, like Chainlink, and then gets exposed through a blockchain node, right? That's the RPC endpoint, if you will. Now, if you look at it from the asset issuer standpoint, there is that big and most important block there, which is the token management. It's an automated block. It runs on its own, right? And it responds to two different things. Sometimes it responds to requests coming from the asset issuer themselves. On the other side, it could respond to a set of events that triggers it to go do something. And that's heavy compute, fully leveraging EC2. And just like what you saw on the other end from the end user, there's also a custody side of things. On the end user side, you saw the wallet. On the asset issuer side, you're going to see custody, right? And same thing, it has a very, very high security bar that needs to be met. And those are some of the solutions that we provide here, right? And that blockchain node, which is the RPC endpoint we talked about, could be your own node, or it could be one of the managed services that we offer with Amazon Managed Blockchain. Now let's take a look at one more, right? Cryptocurrency exchange is probably the most popular, or at least the most used one in terms of Web3 applications, right? Cryptocurrency exchange is a very, very complex beast, right? And anybody in the exchange space, and I know probably Alex is sitting there and cringing a little bit at my block diagram here, looking at it and going, this guy drew a few rectangles and triangles and called it crypto exchange. But to keep it simple, at the heart of the crypto exchange is that trading engine. Now, there are two different personas who interact with the trading engine. There could be retail end users, and there could be market makers. And they interacted at different levels. The end users are coming at it from a front-end GUI, and that's it. That's the level at which they get access to this. And they have to submit their requests and wait for completions. The market makers can interact with the engine at a slightly lower level. They can go a few levels lower than your retail user and interact with the engine. Regardless of what your persona is, the requirements are very, very similar for the user and the folks running the exchange themselves. There's a very, very ultra-low latency requirement. There's no reason for me to explain why. We're talking about trading, right? And there's a scalability requirement because it's very unpredictable. There are events in the macroeconomic conditions that could make exchanges go up and down because of the trading volume that they will see. And there is a very, very high availability requirement because unlike traditional exchanges, crypto exchanges run 24/7. So there is no question of downtime. It's a very high availability requirement. And lastly, there is a requirement very centric to the exchanges themselves, not necessarily for the users, but for the exchanges where they have to assure a certain level of fairness amongst the players. Could be regulatory compliance requirements, whatever the case may be. The reason I'm telling you all this is as you look at the trading engine, as you look at all of the other solutions, there are specific things that we have gone and built to address this. If you look at the ultra-low latency requirement, after a certain point, you're fighting physics. There's only so much you reduce the latency, and then it comes to the length of the cable or how close the servers are to each other. And to address something like that, we developed a product called Amazon Cluster Placement Group, which lets you place your key components very close to each other so we can reduce the latency. And you're going to hear from our customer later today about what they have done to address that, right? I don't need to really spend time talking about scalability and availability. If you're using the cloud, if you're using EC2 today, you probably know how elastic it is and how available it is as well. So those are all specific requirements that we have gone and addressed and continue to improve on. And just like everything else that you saw before, there are also custody and wallet requirements, which we continue to work on with the wallet providers, with the exchanges to keep honing, to keep developing and improving upon those solutions that have helped us set this very, very high security bar. Now that you heard from me about the basic requirements, the foundational pillars, the building blocks that power Web3, I am going to invite our customer, Crypto.com, Alex Yu, Chief Architect at Crypto.com, to come and talk to you about their journey in leveraging AWS services to build a world-class Crypto.com exchange platform. Alex, please. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Arvind. Hello, everyone. How many of you has heard of Crypto.com? Wow, our CMO should be very proud. Okay. So first, let me introduce Crypto.com. So Crypto.com founded in 2016 with the mission, cryptocurrency in every wallet. Today, we are proud to serve over 100 million customers worldwide. Our exchange platform, launched 5 years ago, is now the second largest crypto exchange by spot trading volume, supporting over 400 tokens and 700 order books. Let me take you through the journey of how our exchange has evolved. At the end of 2019, we launched the first generation of the exchange, purely focused on spot trading. In 2021, we make our first major upgrade by launching a new derivatives exchange. Built with event sourcing design and sequencer architecture, the platform quickly gained a reputation for its stability, ultra-low latency, and product variety. Our matching engines can process order in less than 400 nanoseconds. Our flexible design allows us to expand from perpetual swap to more complex instruments, like volatility products. In 2022, we introduced one exchange by merging the spot and derivative exchange into a unified platform. With this upgrade, we can support multiple assets trading in a single wallet. With cost margin policy, we unlock a lot of advanced trading strategies and provide substantial margin savings for users. Even during the bear market, we stay focused, rolling out new features like staking, fixed gateway, advanced trading bot, and portfolio margin policies for our users. This year, leveraging our core technology, we developed OTC, an institutional trading component, supporting advanced execution methods such as RFQ and smart order routing. We have transformed the exchange into a multi-asset, multi-execution trading platform, a groundbreaking evolution that serves as a foundation for the entire Crypto.com ecosystem. So this advancement enables us to serve with a wider range of traders with diverse products. So operating a crypto exchange is highly challenging, especially in such fast-moving and competitive environment. Here are some key challenges we face. Stability is our top priority. Crypto never sleeps. It's trading 24/7. With leverage product on our platform, it is absolutely critical to have a consistent performance with zero downtime. Scalability is another key concern. During bull market, the traffic and volume can surge by 10 to even 100 times. So our system must seamlessly auto-scale to meet the demand when volume increases. Performance and latency are equally important. In volatile markets, any delay can impact the trading experience, especially for high-frequency traders. That's why we invest heavily on our technology to optimize performance and minimize the tail latency. Quick product innovations is the key to our success. We roll out key features frequently to ensure our offerings stay up to date and competitive. Lastly, regulatory and compliance is an area we focus seriously. Our exchange operates globally and meets various compliance requirements around the world. So in this presentation, we'll be focusing on stability, scalability, and latency, and how we leverage AWS technology to help us. So let me first talk about our system stability. To meet the demand for operating 24/7, our platform is designed for zero downtime. To achieve that, it supports instant recovery even during hardware failure, and also supports seamless upgrade to roll out new features and bug fixes. All critical components are running with active standby setup. With both active and standby components, listen to the same event stream. This ensures they always be synchronized and deterministic. Besides, we develop our own failover guardian process to monitor all core components. If any active component is down, the failover guardian promotes the standby component immediately to be active to make sure that no interruption. This active standby setup can be extended to different AWS availability zones. The standby component can be running in a different data center to ensure no disruption, even the primary data center is down. The active standby setup, together with feature-to-go design, allow us to upgrade our system without downtime. Here is an example to upgrade our OMS to support new features. First of all, we promote the secondary OMS to be active, then bring down the primary OMS. One primary OMS is done, we upgrade the version, bring it up. Then we repeat the steps again for the secondary OMS. Promote the primary OMS to be active, bring down the secondary OMS, upgrade the version, and then bring it up. Once both versions are up and running with the new version, and then we can upgrade it with the new features. With these design and upgrade procedures, we can roll out new changes every week without impacting trading. Next, let me talk about scalability. As a cloud-native exchange, our scalability objectives include dynamic scaling and no faltering. Dynamic scaling allows us to scale seamlessly, adapt both normal and extreme trading volume. This allows to scale quickly and cost-effectively when the volume increases. No faltering ensures every request is processed without delay, according to the allowed wait limit. This is very critical, especially for high-frequency trader or maybe for normal trader. Imagine the market is very volatile. You want to cancel or amend a previously placed order in the system. You don't want your request is being throttled or rejected by some system BC errors. When our exchange was first launched in day one, the architecture was simple and lightweight. We have order gateway that handle order from clients, and market data like order book, candlestick are published through the market data gateway back to the client. These gateway can be scaled seamlessly, quickly to meet the demand. On the core part, we have multiple OMS to perform the risk check for the client, and we have matching engines to process the trade match for the orders. So on day one, this setup can already handle 100,000 transactions per second on a handful of servers. And our latency is crazy. It was measured in microseconds level. As our user and order book increase in number, we need to ensure we scale for the future. 100,000 TPS may not be enough. Therefore, we designed the backbone of the system to incorporate sharding. This allows us to split the workload into multiple event streams and achieve unlimited scalability without impacting the latency. All latency-sensitive core applications run on bare metal EC2 servers, and they are co-located within the same cluster placement group. This ensures the lowest possible latency. At the same time, for non-latency sensitive tasks, we leverage AWS MSK. The managed Kafka system integrates seamlessly with our event sourcing design, allow us to offload non-latency sensitive workload such as reporting, post-trade analytics, to a more cost-efficient service. So with this upgrade, our platform now scales seamlessly to meet any demand while remaining highly cost-efficient. Next, let me pass the time to my colleague Russell to talk about latency optimization. Over to you, Russell.
Thank you, Alex. So I'll be walking you through how we've optimized our connectivity, our placement, and our performance to achieve the ultra-low latency that is required for our exchange. In the world of crypto trading, speed isn't a nice to have, it is a necessity, and our clients are demanding lightning fast execution to stay ahead of their competition, and latency is their deciding factor. To put it in perspective, we are regularly dealing in the order of single-digit microseconds, and a microsecond is 100,000 times the speed of the blink of the human eye. And it's this relentless pursuit of speed that allows us to provide our clients with the edge that they need in the fast-paced world of crypto trading. Now, this isn't something that we've achieved overnight. Over the years, we've innovated and iterated, and I'd like to take you through some of the steps in that journey. So firstly, we sought to enhance our client connectivity. So the public internet, whilst it is convenient, it simply isn't reliable or fast enough to sustain high-frequency trading. Variability, bottlenecks, and even small delays can affect the trading outcomes. And so to solve this, we implemented AWS Private Link. Private Link allows us to offer a direct connection between our VPC and our clients' VPCs, and bypassing the complexities that come with that, with overlapping CIDR ranges and the unpredictability of the public internet routing. And by leveraging network load balancers, we achieved ultra-low latency connections while maintaining secure and isolated communication. And with Private Link, we took a philosophy of a minimalist approach where we interrogated and scrutinized every step in the pathway to try and eliminate it and offer the shortest possible pathway for our clients and optimize their interactions. And this ensures that orders are processed with the maximum efficiency and delivering the performance that our traders demand. The next after that, we sought to optimize for our internal latency. So typically instances, EC2 instances, by default, they could be scattered anywhere around an availability zone. And this is bad for us because we need them to be as close together as possible to minimize latency between our services. So to mitigate that, we chose to use cluster placement groups, and this ensures that our EC2s are located as physically close to each other as possible under the same network spine. And by co-locating our services, such as our matching engine, our order management service, and our gateways, we're able to drastically reduce the internal communication delays. And this allows us to process the massive data volumes that are required for real-time trading with unmatched speed. And this optimization is another key step in our journey toward meeting the demands of our clients. So by combining Private Link with cluster placement groups for our internal performance, we've been able to establish the solid foundation for low latency trading. And to further enhance our performance, we also implement OS level optimizations, and while subtle, these adjustments allow kernel tuning and process prioritization, ensure each server optimized at peak efficiency. And we also have continuous monitoring processes in place that ensure that if the state changes or it drifts, we're alerted and we can remediate on that. And so together, these strategies, enhancing our connectivity, optimizing our placement, and our precise operating system tuning, create the environment needed to deliver the speed, scalability, and stability that our clients depend on. And with that, I hand back to Alex.
Thank you, Russell. So with our architecture and the support of AWS, our platform delivers exceptional performance and stability. Our uptime has increased from 99.5% to 99.99%, even as we hit the all-time high for both volume an order per second record this year. Our order processing throughput has scaled up at least 20 times. We achieve unlimited scalability by simply just adding more servers, and it didn't impact the latency. Finally, we have reduced our tail latency at the 99.9 percentile by over 90%, meaning our latency stays consistently low, no matter the volume and traffic. To sum up, our platform now supports a wide range of products, including spot trading, margin trading, future, perpetual, and our latest offering, CFDs. It operates globally across multiple countries, and besides order book trading, it offers advanced execution like RFQ and smart order routing. With a robust real-time risk management system, we accommodate various product types and multiple margin policies, ensuring flexibility and better margin savings for our users. And finally, our global fiat on and off ramp make it seamless for our user to enter and exit the crypto ecosystem. Built on the strong foundations and powered by the AWS infrastructure, our platform has evolved from a crypto exchange into a highly versatile multi-asset trading platform. And looking ahead, we are excited to take the platform to the next level. As many of you have seen from our public 2025 roadmap, we are expanding into traditional asset classes and banking services, but crypto remaining our core mission, cryptocurrency in every wallet. By bringing the retail client into a multi-asset trading platform, we can seamlessly integrate fiat and crypto services, combine the best of both worlds, and unlocking the potential of Web3. Crypto.com ecosystem and various product offerings are becoming more and more integrated and to provide the best experience for our users across CeFi and DeFi. And I believe AWS plays a pivotal role in this space, not just for us, but for other organizations as we embrace the next wave of Web3 and decentralized finance. On this note, I will pass the time back to Arvind. Thank you for listening and supporting Crypto.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex and Russell, for sharing your experience with us, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing AWS to be a part of your journey. Now, as you heard from Alex and Russell, you could resonate, I'm sure, if looking back to some of the building blocks and requirements that I talked to you about earlier, the latency requirements, the unpredictable demand and scalability that's needed, and the level of availability that's needed, these are very, very demanding requirements. And we are continuing to work with our customers to raise the bar on these things. And these are building blocks that you can take advantage of today if you're building Web3 applications. After this session, I will hang back for autographs. But jokes aside, I'll hang back if you have any questions for me. We can talk about it. Stick with me here for a minute and let you go for lunch, okay? I just want to touch a little bit on what the future trends are that we're seeing from talking to customers and partners. I would put it in the 3 buckets, right? There's a lot of advancement in blockchain technologies. There's quite a bit of innovation going on in decentralized finance. We're seeing a lot of action in that space. And lastly, 2024, I don't think I can get by this session without talking about AI even once, right? So there's a little bit of convergence there with Web3 and AI and what's going on. So on the blockchain side of things, there's a proliferation of high throughput chains that are aimed at improving efficiency that we're starting to see. We're also starting to see the emergence of roll-up as a service from a lot of providers who want to help customers stand up their own networks using popular frameworks like Optimism. And there's also a number of increase in the number of networks, and there's a big need for underlying interoperability type of solutions that are starting to emerge as well. And we are working with partners, to help develop those solutions. In the DeFi space, we're seeing emphasis on improved user experience with solutions like embedded wallets, interoperability solutions addressing the issue of fragmented liquidity, And then lastly, new yield generation opportunities as well, with staking and restaking and all that good stuff, right? And lastly, under the emerging use cases with AI, we have some blueprints and some demos that we've already started to create for natural language processing to query blockchain data and provide you with some data analytics and predictive analytics especially for trading. If you heard Alex talk about bots and whatnot. So there's a little bit of predictive analytics work that's going on as well. And of course, AI agents in DeFi. So these are some areas that we're starting to see more traction this year, and we think it'll continue and have some legs for next year as well. So that's where you will see us working on and investing a little bit more. And I can't wait to come back and talk to you about all of that next year. With that, I will leave you with some resources if you're curious to learn more about any of the products, the blueprints, or if you want to get your hands dirty on some of the workshops that we have created for you. Most of them are self-help, self-paced. They're free for you to use. So I encourage you to take advantage of the resources that you have at your disposal. With that, I will thank you for spending your time with us today and for listening to us. And as I said earlier, if you want to do the survey, do it when you're not hangry. Thank you.